My favorite thing about Canada is you.
Perfect. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Oral Sessions. You're probably asking yourself, who is this? Because this obviously is not the soothing, sultry sound of Renee. But it is a fellow Canadian. My name is Chelsea Green. I'm going to be filling in for the new mama today. I'm super excited. I'm not going to lie, I'm a little bit nervous. I feel like I have some big shoes to fill. But most people know me as a wrestler. But my passion has always been speaking, I guess. So I asked Renee if I could help her host a little bit. And she gave me this episode to play with. So you guys, I decided to bring on a guest that I felt the most comfortable with, someone that I could get the dirty deets out of and he would still go to sleep with me at night. You might know him as the $1,000 broski, the major, no, what is it?
You don't even know my catchphrases?
Wait, let me think
Oh
of
my
this. The
God.
$1,000 broski,
Yeah.
the Michael Jordan of wrestling figure collecting,
Okay.
my cat daddy,
Sure.
my fiance, my future husband,
Internet champion, always ready, all that stuff.
possibly baby daddy,
I don't know about that.
Matthew Cardona.
It's just Matt, but what's up, Chels?
Hey, baby.
So
Thanks
this
for
is
coming on.
incredibly awkward
Why?
because Renee never asked me to do her podcast, and now I'm doing it, but she's not the host. You are. And now I don't know what you're going to ask me. I saw you Googling me last night, so I'm a little nervous
No,
about this.
I know that's a funny thing. I was really nervous because I don't interview people. Like I like to talk. I have a podcast, Green with Envy podcast, and
Nice little plug.
Major Land podcast. But I was nervous because I feel like interviewing is a whole different skill. So I wanted to try to flex that. So I had to do my research on you.
Well, you don't even know my nickname, so.
No, I did.
Okay.
I just got nervous.
Okay.
Okay, so I want to jump right into things. I want to talk about relationship stuff.
Is this therapy? I thought therapy was Thursday.
No, I want to talk about relationship stuff. So my first question is, did you ever think you were going to end up with a fellow wrestler?
My rule was no dating wrestlers.
Stop.
That was my rule for so many years.
No.
It never ends well. I mean, back in the day, it didn't. Now there's so many relationships. You know, people having babies.
Right.
Obviously.
It's like not as messy now.
Right.
But okay, that's funny because I said the same thing. Well,
Mhm.
you knew that. I never ever wanted to date a wrestler, and I never dated a wrestler until you. You were my first.
That's what you say.
What the f? You were my first, last, and only wrestler, but I
Okay.
was not your first, last. Well, I was your last.
Last.
I wasn't your only. So
Let's go to the next question.
No, you've made this mistake a couple times.
Okay.
So you really didn't think.
Practice makes perfect.
Okay, I like that.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay, so what do you think the biggest difference is between dating a regular civilian, because you've dated regular people
Sure.
while you've been a wrestler.
Right.
So what's the difference between dating a regular person and dating a wrestler?
Well, a wrestler gets it. They understand if you can't go to this wedding or you can't go to this party. A normal person might not understand why they have to go to this wedding alone or why this vacation is canceled last minute. But a wrestler totally understands and probably has to cancel plans on you too. So
Okay, so I agree with that. But what do you think the downfalls are of dating someone in the same industry as you? I
don't think this podcast is long enough for stuff like that.
I really do think that overall it's pretty positive. I would say like it's like an actor dating an actor. Yeah, you just get it.
Right.
But there's got to be like some negatives. I can think of some negatives.
Well, I mean, if you're on different shows, different schedules, different promotions, that could be a problem.
Interpromotional.
Well, I don't mean like that kind of drama. I'm
relationships?
just saying like you're not together as much. You're not home together. You're not on the road together. So that could be weird.
Okay, so like when we first started dating and I was at Impact and you were at WWE, you're talking like that.
Yeah, but not so much that we were in different places that the schedule didn't really match up.
Yeah, that's definitely hard. And especially because I do feel like it's not a team sport. So you're just looking out for yourself to an extent, right? Like you have to look out for yourself in order to succeed. So you've got to go and do those shows or you've got to go and do those appearances.
But I think one thing that we have done so well is we don't really bring work home. Yes, we talk about it every once in a while, but I don't care about your storyline pitch. You know what I'm saying? I don't care about like this move you want to try. And as long as we keep that stuff out, I think we'll both be happier.
I agree. And a lot of people ask me that. Do we talk about wrestling like in our free time? Or someone asked me the other day, do we actually wrestle at home? And yeah, and I was like, no, actually we're like the total opposite. Like I feel like first of all, I feel like the first 2 years of our relationship, we really didn't speak about wrestling at all. Like I think when I was turning into the hot mess, we literally never spoke about that because we were just starting to date.
Yeah, I mean, I'd rather, know about Chelsea the person more than Chelsea the character.
Oh, that's cute.
I like now, if you have like a question or something like that, I'll answer it. Or if I have something
Right.
I want to run by you, I'll ask you. But like typically, like I don't care. I don't want to know. I don't want to know like, oh my God, she was wearing blue and now I have blue.
Okay, but I do say that.
I know, that's what I'm saying. I don't care. I don't, and not like in a mean way, not in a malicious way. I just genuinely don't care, and I don't want to waste our precious time talking about stuff like that.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. Okay, so you obviously love toys.
Sure. Yes. The Major Wrestling Fear podcast. A little plug ski for that.
Action figures.
Yeah.
Were you nervous to tell not just me, but all of your previous girlfriends that you were a toy hoarder?
Hoarder is not the word. Like back in the day, it wasn't so much accepted. Like you watch 40-Year-Old Virgin, the guy is a legit virgin and he has these figures on display and it's not cool. Now it's so cool. At least I think it is. And I don't care what anybody thinks, especially like with you. You met me when I was first moving into this house in Orlando. So I didn't have this giant toy room yet. I was kind of building it. It's not like you walked into a room and it was just wall to wall to wall.
I saw
it
slowly come together.
Right.
But okay. I mean, yeah, like nostalgia or whatever is a thing now, and everybody loves stuff from like the 80s and the 90s.
Right.
But like, I guess my question really is it how do you tell a girl that you're a collector? Because see, for me, again, like I came over and you were like kind of setting up the room and we built the shelves together and we made a date out of it, and I didn't know what it was going to be.
Right.
But I'm assuming that in previous states that you lived in, you had.
Yeah, I mean, like in high school and in college, I legit kept it all on display in my closet. And like that was hidden.
In your closet.
That was my like little safe space. But
and
now
then you could shut the doors.
Right. It was like a sliding door. And you open it up, it was like, and I had lights in there. It was nice on display.
You open it up and you're like, oh.
Something like that.
Oh
yeah.
God.
And just now, like, I don't know. I just don't care what people think. So if, not necessarily you, but a girl is not going to want to date me because I have all these action figures, then I don't want to date her.
Okay. I agree.
There you go.
I agree. And I love that. So when do you think your love of action figures first started?
Oh, when I was a kid.
Like
right every
from
kid.
Birth.
Yeah. I just never grew out of it. Everyone loves toys as a kid. Everyone.
Well, agreed. But even speaking to your mom said that you were crazy right from the get.
Well,
I'm
like
6 years old.
I was a completist. I needed everybody.
Yeah.
If it's like the Hasbro wrestling figures, you can't like not get Skinner. You got to get everybody. Who? Exactly.
Skinner? I literally have no idea what you're talking about. Okay, so
it's a wrestler.
Okay, so right out of the womb,
Sure.
you
collect them all.
You've always been a what did you call it? A completist?
I'm not so much a completist now because there's so much stuff, but back then for sure, like I wanted everyone in the set. And if there was Hulk Hogan with a tank top, Hulk Hogan without the tank top, I need both.
What about when you were younger and say you're in middle school or high school and you've got an anniversary with a girlfriend? Did they ever try to buy you toys, or were you just don't even try?
No, that at that point I was almost in denial and like I was not proud to be a collector. I'd go to Toys R Us and ask for a gift receipt so people, the cashier, thought I was, didn't think I was some teenager playing with toys.
Really?
Yeah, I was really protective of my image.
Wait, that's I love that. Oh my gosh. Okay, so that's very interesting. I didn't know these questions about you because I've never asked I don't know. I just feel like I know things about you. So then when I was making up these questions, I was like, wait, what don't I know? Or what do I know but I think is interesting? And like
you don't know Skinner.
No, I have no idea who that is. But the whole action figure thing, I don't know. So you came out of the womb loving toys and being a completist.
Sure.
But what about wrestling?
Always loved wrestling. People ask all the time, what was the first match you saw, the first toy? I don't remember it. Every memory,
memory.
I don't know. Every memory I have from my childhood involves wrestling toys, whether it be the big rubber LJNs or wrestling with my wrestling buddies. Like that was my life. I was just always obsessed with it. And I never grew out of it, never grew out of loving wrestling, never grew out of loving the action figures.
Wow. You're a big kid.
Well, right. And also like back then, like what made it so cool was these wrestlers were like real life action figures, all jacked up, toyetic, big colors,
Right.
There was like the bad guys, the good guys. So it was really, there was nothing else where you have these toys and they're on your TV screen, every single week. Sure, like they made toys for TV shows or movies, but not something that you could see every single week.
Okay, but
like how many times could you rewatch Batman 89? You know what I'm saying? Like this way, you're watching wrestling every single week, the pay-per-views, then you can rent the tapes. There was just so much wrestling out there.
So your dad was a fan though?
I think he was a fan through me. He wasn't a fan. He didn't like.
See, I just assumed that your dad was a fan and that's kind of how it trickled down to you, but you think it's the opposite.
Yeah, I think it was just something like I saw on TV like one day and just liked as a kid.
And there's 3 of you, 3 brothers.
That's right.
In your house. So did you all 3 love wrestling equally?
I mean, I was always the one obviously who loved it the most, but there was definitely a time where I think we all loved it a lot,
Right.
And then, eventually we would backyard wrestle in high school. Don't try this at home, but we did. I was the booker man, the promoter, but also wrestled.
Oh, so you were like the booker that puts himself over.
Well, I started as champion just to, but then I put the other guys over to give them credibility. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And then my little brother was
end as the champ?
Well, it's like a storybook ending, of course. Yeah, 2-time WTW champion. That's right.
Right.
I'm glad you know your history.
I do. I remember that, obviously, because we were at a wedding.
That's right.
Like a couple weeks ago, and I had to brush up on my knowledge because there was a lot of WTW members.
A lot of WTW Hall of Famers there. That's right.
Yeah, so that was very interesting to me. And were your brothers in WTW?
Yeah, one was my rival, my heated rival, and then one was much younger, so he was the referee.
Oh my gosh! So what's the age difference between everyone in your family?
My brother and I are like a year and a half apart, and then I'm 5 years older or 6 years older than my youngest brother because he's your age.
Yeah, he's my age. He's the best. They're both awesome. I guess my question is, how do they feel about you being a wrestler?
They're super supportive. Always have been. They didn't follow it themselves, but it wasn't like their ultimate dream. But every time there's like a local show, they go. They watch my stuff. They listen to the major wrestling podcast, even though they don't collect. So they definitely support.
But it must be pretty surreal to like. I'm assuming that you guys went to Madison Square Garden and saw shows when you were younger. Yeah. So it must be kind of surreal for them to come and watch you.
Yeah, I guess, like for me, it doesn't feel that surreal because it's always felt like a natural progression. Like this was for some reason. You were
going to do this.
Right. I mean, now I'm a very positive person. I wasn't when I was younger, but for some reason, this was like, this was the only thing I was going to do. There was no plan B. There was no other option. So everything that I've accomplished just kind of feels like, well, yeah, this is kind of the plan.
Yeah, that's crazy. So when people ask you, what was your backup plan or what would you be if you weren't a wrestler? Do you even have an answer?
I have no other answer. I have no other passion, nothing. Like, I mean,
right.
As a kid, wrestling was it. It wasn't just like, it wasn't just the thing I wanted to do. It was the only thing I loved. I wasn't into sports. It was just wrestling.
Wait, I actually that made me think of the story your mom told me when she said that you played basketball. Was it in high school or middle school?
Probably middle school.
Okay, and she said that you hated it so much that every time someone passed you the ball, it was like you had a hot potato in your hand. You had to get it out of your hands. So
yeah, I mean, I just never enjoyed it. I was like fine playing with my friends, like on the schoolyard, in the backyard, the streets, but I hated like having to go to practice and stuff like, especially like when you had to go on like Saturday mornings and miss Superstars. That was a wrestling show.
So it was. Yes, I know. Thank you. Oh my god.
We don't know Skinner. Goddamn.
Oh, that's a wrestler.
Holy.
Oh no! Oh, so I really outed myself.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I hate when
Steve
I do
Kern.
that.
I don't know if he's listening, but he's gonna be pissed.
I hate when I do that. No. Okay, I promise you, Steve Kern. I'll Google you after this. I always do this, and I really get myself in a pickle. Jesus. Okay, so let's go back to like middle school and high school then. You loved wrestling. You didn't play, well, you played sports, but you didn't like have a passion for anything else other than wrestling.
No, I wrestled in high school. It was like a joke. I'd do like tornado DDTs, like head scissors in the back.
Wait, a real wrestling? Like wrestling, like Greco-Roman wrestling
like high school
practice?
wrestling, yeah.
Oh.
And there's our cat.
Oh, oops, there's Waffles.
It's a goddamn zoo here.
I know, it really is. So, but again, like with the girlfriends and things like that, were you open about your love of wrestling? Did everyone know?
Everybody knew it. Yeah. I mean, it was one of those, even, I was always that kid who was wearing the wrestling shirts in school, because in high school, it was not cool to wear shirts. There was like everyone my age loved it when I was in kindergarten, first grade, whatever, like early 90s. And then they all fell out of it. And then I call them like the 98ers. They all came in for the Attitude Era.
That was me. That was my sister and I when we were like, second grade.
Right,
which
everyone,
would have been
wearing the DX shirts, the NWO shirts. And then it was cool for a little bit. But then it became not cool again. But I didn't care. I was, going to the shows by myself.
Going to shows by yourself?
Well, yeah, I needed that pay-per-view souvenir chair. So
really? You would go to pay-per-views by yourself?
Yeah, like my brothers would go, but they'd sit up in the nosebleeds, and I'd save up my money to get that pay-per-view chair.
No way.
Yes,
do you have pictures of this? I've got to see this.
Do I have pictures of myself? There was no selfies back then, babe. So I wasn't taking selfies.
On your digital camera?
Or if you watch, I think it's like SummerSlam 2002, you can see me like the hard cam side, kind of dressed like Shawn Michaels with a HBK Still Rules sign for most of the night.
Did you ever bring a girlfriend to a show?
I don't believe I ever did, no.
It's very distracting having all these animals here. It's like very distracting. Okay, but did you tell them about your love of wrestling? Because that's what I'm saying.
Well, because I'm sure like I had a poster or two or something. So or like a replica belt hanging up. Yeah.
It's so funny because I remember the years that I fell out of love with wrestling. I mean, obviously I was not like some diehard. Duh. I already outed myself on that. But when my sister and I watched, and we were in first, second, third grade, and then I kind of fell out of love with it around like fifth grade. Up until I saw Kelly in high school and fell in love again. But it wasn't like the cool thing, right? I don't know why. I don't know if you just go through this period in time where you're like, wrestling is fake or whatever you think, but it just wasn't cool. So I even kept it private from like any of my friends that I even watched wrestling in like third grade. So you're just telling me that you were like out and about.
Yeah,
everyone knew your love of wrestling.
Certainly wasn't talking about my fig feds, but that I watched it, sure.
Wow, that's crazy. So fast forward to a couple years ago, and you're originally from Long Island, New York.
Yep.
And you moved to Orlando, Florida.
That's right.
What made you want to move?
I did not want to shovel snow ever again. It was that. I just wanted to change. I wanted to live in the nice weather. It was a lot cheaper to buy a house in Florida than New York. But
you were moving somewhere so far away from your family, and you obviously have you're like an Italian New York family. You guys are all close.
Yeah, but it's not like Sopranos or anything like that. No,
it kind of is. The plan was you guys are very close.
Yeah, but the plan was like I'd go home like a couple times a
year.
No, a month, really. Like at least split it. But then once I got down here, I just loved it. I loved. I lived in an apartment. It sucked. It was so small.
Right.
I didn't have room to display my collection, but now I had a toy room, and I had a nice big couch and a backyard with a pool. And like, I'm not leaving. So I go home now a couple times a year.
Toot your own horn. Backyard with a pool.
That's right. It's a nice pool.
Everybody's seen it because of social media.
That's right. Even WWE wanted to use it that one time.
Yeah, they did. That was so awkward. Oh my gosh. Okay, so you moved down and you meet the love of your life.
You? No, yes, that is true. Yes, that was another reason why we met as I moved down here. So it was kind of like perfect timing, and it really made me enjoy my stay here. Because when I first moved down, I didn't really know anybody. Yes, there are a lot of wrestlers who live here, but
you knew a couple people.
Yeah, but I don't want to hang out. Nothing against wrestlers.
You had an ex-girlfriend or something like that down here, so come on. You were fine.
At the time, I was just down here. I didn't have much furniture in the house. I had like pay-per-view chairs, a TV.
Okay, but also, I feel like a lot of people don't know you moved, and I'm going to get the timeline wrong, but you blew your knee out and moved, or you moved and then went on the road and blew your knee out
I think I moved to Florida like the first week of December, and then like needed knee surgery like the second week of December.
Oh my God.
So I'm like, oh, I'll just be in Florida a couple days a week. No, 7 days a week. It was miserable until I met you, babe.
Oh, but at that time, were you a hype bro or were you not?
Well, I thought that was going to be the end of it, but yes, I was.
You were a hype bro. So Mojo was like your Mojo lived here.
Yeah, and Mojo helped me like move in stuff because I had one leg, so he helped out big time.
So wow, you came home off the road after blowing your knee out, and you were in a brand new house. I'm sure you didn't have anything here.
I did not, and they were still doing like finishing construction, so like they were doing work and stuff, and like redoing the floors, and so like I couldn't even get furniture and stuff yet. That's why I had the pay-per-view chairs.
And you couldn't get up the stairs, or could you?
No, I could.
Oh, that sucks.
It wasn't a good time.
But that's okay because you met me.
That's true.
So
and then you conned me into dating you by lying and saying you love theme parks when you like theme parks.
Okay, first of all, I feel like if you read we met because you slid into my DMs, right?
Well,
true or false, you slid into my DMs.
I was kind of, giving a little heads up, like, hey, maybe you should slide into her DMs.
First of all, yes, you slid into my DMs, and it was late nights. You slid in at like 2 a.m, I'm pretty sure. So you were out with Cody and Brandy.
I was, yeah.
And I'll tell you something, which I've probably told you this, but I felt like that whole week, Cody and Brandy, had left WWE, and this was their first kind of like hurrah on the indies, and they came to Impact, and they were doing, I think, a week-long set of tapings at Impact, and that's when I first met them. I obviously didn't really know Cody, but Brandy was in the locker room.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of, Mackenzie Mitchell and I kind of like tried to take her under our wing and hang out with her a bit, because it's awkward being in a locker room for the first time alone, especially after you've been used to something like WWE, because everything else is so different. Well, now you're experiencing this. It's so different than WWE. Right. It's very like, you might be uptight when you walk in, but like it's so relaxed. It's just like a whole different atmosphere. So I felt like that whole week, she kept asking me about being single and like planting seeds. And I remember in the makeup chair 2 days in a row, she brought up this guy named Zack Ryder. And I was like, what? Obviously, I don't know wrestling. So like, I didn't know who that was.
But wait, you told me that you were.
Wait. So then I went home and I did a little recon, and I looked you up on Facebook. I looked you up on your ex's Facebook. I looked up your Instagram. I looked up your ex's Instagram.
Crazy.
I Googled you. I Wikipedia'd you. I literally, and I realized when she said that I was already following you on Twitter. So I unfollowed because I got the vibe that she was possibly trying to plant the seed about the Zack Ryder guy. And so I unfollowed because I didn't want to look like I was a fangirl. I even can picture, I can picture in my head all the photos that I remember seeing of you on your social media, just so you know, it's very open to the public. Like I could see like, your past anyway. But that was like my first, memory of them kind of, or Brandy speaking about you. And then, what do you know? The last day of tapings, I went home. Who slid into my DMs?
Me, I guess.
You. I just wanted to tell that story.
Well, it's true. And then, you lied and said that you
that's where I was going.
Yeah, you lied and said you loved Disney World and theme parks when you really just kind of like them. Okay. Well, yes, but what I wanted to say is that you slid into my DMs, and I never said I am a huge diehard fan of Disney. First of all, I thought, stupid me, that like being a fan was like just liking Disney, and I loved Disneyland. I love California Adventure. Like I thought I loved that stuff. I didn't realize that you're on a different level. Well, I mean, I'm not even there's many levels above me. I would like to go a couple times a month. We live here, annual pass holders. Go a couple times a month. Get a cocktail.
Babe, a couple times
buy some
a month,
merch.
That's That's a lot. That's
Not
going
if-
once a
not-
week or
Not if
once
you're an
every
annual
2
pass
weeks.
holder. That's what the whole point of being an annual pass holder is. You go multiple times annually because
Okay.
you're a pass holder.
Okay. So when do you think your love of Disney started?
Listen, like that's kind of weird too, because like yes, I love the parks, but I'm not like sitting here watching The Lion King on a Friday night. Like I don't.
Right.
I
I
don't-
feel like you're more, you're a park lover,
Yeah.
not necessarily like a Disney, like have to be in the movie theater for the newest Lion King.
No, absolutely not. I probably haven't seen the majority of Disney movies released in the past 15, 20 years.
So if I've got this right, I remember you saying that you really started to love the theme parks when you came down with a girlfriend or whatever, and you actually did it right. Like you saw.
Yeah,
that
when I
there was-
realized, oh, damn, like you could drink here, like stuff like that, which I didn't know as a kid. My parents weren't feeding me, margaritas at Epcot.
Right.
When I realized you can do that, and I realized there's like really good like dining in the hotels and stuff like that, it like totally not changed my perspective because I already loved it. I loved the rides, I loved
Right.
the attractions, but to add all those other elements to it made me love it even more.
So if someone was to ask what's your favorite restaurant or bar in all of the Disney parks, just in Orlando, what would you say?
I'd probably say California Grill. It's on Disney property in one of the hotels, and it like overlooks the Magic Kingdom. And they have a really good food. They have sushi, steak, good drinks.
It's weird
Hell
because
of a
you're
lemon
telling
drop.
me,
Hell of
but
a lemon
like
drop.
you and I go all the time. So we're
I would say
actually
we go all the time. We've been there before.
we've been there a couple times.
Well, I
for
mean,
sure.
we've lived in Florida for 5 years. We've been there like 4 times. I wouldn't say we go there all the time.
Oh my god! Honestly, you're exhausting.
Okay.
It's ridiculous. Like I think we go and do Disney quite a bit, and actually, I think we do parks enough. Where we have a podcast together.
That's
about
right.
It.
Where we argue the entire time, just like now.
Major Land Pod.
That's right.
You think we're arguing right now?
No, we're not arguing. I'm kidding.
I actually think this is a much better vibe than our podcast was.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like I do think, well, here's the thing. I think it's really hard to work with your partner. Like we live together, we do the same profession. We're now podcasting and we have a podcast together. We work out together. Like you don't think that's hard?
Yeah. I don't think I could ever like ride with you like on the road. You know what I'm saying?
Wait, what?
I just don't think I could do it if it was like a multiple day loop. Like, because I have my schedule, and I don't know if I could, do yours.
Well, you know why? Because you're stuck in your ways. You're like, you might be 36, but you're like an 86-year-old man who's stuck in his ways.
Because
You
I
have
figure
to eat at your right time. You have to eat a certain amount. I heard Hawkins told me, or Brian Myers told me that you get hangry on the road.
for the majority of my adult life, I was on the road more than I was home. So I treated the road like it was my real life. So I wanted to do things my way.
Right.
So I didn't want to ride with someone who didn't have my schedule, and then, I found people who we could like compromise, found a good happy medium.
Who'd you ride with? Who had your schedule or could,
I mean,
was
I
easy
could,
going enough?
even like Brian Myers, I could compromise with, or Ziegler or Miz Morrison. And that's about it.
So do you ride with one person or do you ride with a carpool?
It depends on the loop. And I love riding by myself with nobody. I love it. On my own schedule. If I want to sleep in, I sleep in. If I want to wake up early, I wake up early. If I want to spend 2 hours in the gym, cool. 1 hour, skip the gym. Big hunt, it's the best.
When you're on the road, do you have any weird habits or weird things that you do, things that you eat or have to stop at to see or listen to?
Not really. I got to find a gym. I got to find food.
Pretty normal.
Big hunt.
So okay, that's something different though. So, so when you go places, do you Google like a store before
I'll go in
Raw or
like
SmackDown?
Yelp, like vintage toy store or something like that.
And then you try to go to a new toy store when you're on the road in a new city?
If it looks good, if it looks promising, sure.
That's interesting. I'm more of like a sightseeing, like I would go out of my way to see like a mountain or something.
Not me. I mean, unless it's Space Mountain, I'm not interested.
Oh my God. Okay, so obviously we got through the pandemic together.
Sure.
Did you think we were going to?
Yeah.
But I guess you didn't think it was going to last that long. Nobody would have guessed that it was going to last that long.
I mean, it's kind of just finally, like, I don't even know if it's ending or what, but like we don't have to wear masks anymore.
Right. So aside from
things are opening up.
Yeah. I mean, definitely we are no longer in a pandemic in Orlando. I cannot speak for anywhere else, but Orlando is very much open. They're pretending as if this didn't happen. It's crazy. But like, let's just go back to, month 4 of the pandemic, and we're stuck inside.
This is going to sound horrible to say. I loved the pandemic because on paper, it was a horrible year for me. I got fired from WWE, lost my dream job. This global pandemic, we had to cancel our wedding. But I loved it because I was home every single day. I never got a vacation. I never got like a time off. And I had months just off, and there was nothing to do. I couldn't even really go anywhere because we were in the middle of the pandemic. So I was just sitting poolside every single day.
Oreos,
no, I wouldn't even say I was like eating like I was still like we built a little gym in the backyard. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. And we took the major Wrestling for a podcast and we were able to, build on that.
Okay. But what about our relationship? Do you think it got stronger during the pandemic, or do you think we had a couple of shaky, rocky moments?
Oh, there was definitely a couple rocky moments. That doesn't mean we didn't get stronger because of it.
I think we got stronger, but there was a rough patch there. I feel like once I started kind of like opening up to my friends about the rough patch that we had during quarantine.
This is my first time learning of this rough patch.
No, you were in it. You were deep in it with me. So I don't know what you're pretending we didn't have a rough patch for. No, once I spoke with my friends, and I think that you'll remember me saying this to you, I realized that 99.9% of my friends felt the same way in their relationship. They were getting on each other's nerves, obviously, right? Like, we're stuck in a house. We have how much Prison Break could we watch?
Right.
You know what I mean?
We went from like seeing each other a couple of days a week to seeing each other 24/7.
Right. And that's a lot for anybody, because I'll tell you what, when I go home and visit my family and you're the same way, I can do about 2 to 3 days with them.
No, I agree.
Then I start to go crazy. Okay. So you got released during the pandemic.
I did.
So did I. I did.
Well, a year later.
But it was still in the pandemic.
I guess technically,
so
sure.
We both got fired during the pandemic.
Exactly 1 year apart.
Exactly.
Congrats, babe.
So what was your initial reaction? I'm sure you've answered this question so many times, but I actually want to know personally, what was your initial reaction when you got that call? You knew it was coming.
Yes and no. I knew the releases were coming that day. And my biggest fear was that they weren't going to release me because my contract was up in August. So now this is April and I did not re-sign. I didn't know if I wanted to stay or go.
Right.
So I was like, oh my God, I hope they don't not release me and just let me rot till August.
Sit there.
Yeah. So once I saw people going, I was like, oh, please fire me.
Okay. So that's positive.
Yeah. And like I already had my pro wrestling tee store set up. I just needed to press live on that. And then, I mean, listen, losing your dream job sucks. The paycheck coming in every week and then not coming in, that sucked. But
that's about to happen for me.
That's true. But it was time to go. And, ultimately the decision was made for me because I was living. A good thing. Yeah, because I was living with anxiety for over a year, negotiating this new deal. And then when the decision was made for me, it's like, okay, that's it. It's made. This is the way it was supposed to be. I definitely
felt like it was weighing on you.
Oh, it totally was.
I felt like we spoke about it every time you got off the road. We like debriefed in bed and spoke about like, did you get a new deal? Did you not? Did you have a conversation? Did you not? That's stressful.
Right. Yeah. So once like there was a weight lifted off my shoulder and then I was like very, very excited to go out and wrestle. But the thing is, like we were living this pandemic. There were a couple indies, but it wasn't like the safest, and they weren't like
And there really wasn't. There was a couple, and then they shut down because it's like it's so unsafe to be doing that. Sure. And really, they're only just opening up now, a year after.
Right. So right now, it's like every weekend this summer, I'm booked doing something. So
okay. So how are you feeling now that it's been a year? Are you feeling positive about it? Are you happy about it? Do you think
it was the best thing that ever happened to me?
Yeah, 100%.
For my career, for my podcast, for my creativity, for everything. It was just, WWE was my dream, and I'm so grateful for my time there. But it was time to go.
Okay, so I definitely agree with you because I know what you were feeling personally, and I know the conversations that you had or didn't have. But I feel like a lot of people are thinking the opposite. It wasn't your time to go because they feel like you just had like you were given like little bones. You were thrown little bones. You never actually fully got to experience like so many different things in WWE. But you don't feel that way?
I mean, I disagree. Listen, I mean, you can't be undefeated and champion
24/7.
It's just not
Yeah.
realistic. You know,
Yeah.
everyone has a different role. I was fortunate enough to be given opportunities, and you know, I use the catchphrase "always ready," and it's not just a catchphrase. It's how I live my life and my career because you know you have to be ready for any moment because the opportunities I got kind of came out of nowhere.
Right.
You know, whether it be from me doing a YouTube show or you know me getting in better shape or whatever. If you want something bad enough, you just gotta always be ready.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like to use it too. So I feel a little cheesy when I.
Well, there's only so many things you can control, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, trust me, if you go back to like 2012,
Wait,
2013.
but go back to that. Break it down because I love when you tell me.
Well,
this.
let me get there. So, like, if you go down, you know, if you go back to like 2012, 2013, I am certain you will find some passive aggressive,
Right.
negative, bitter tweets from me.
Right.
When my whole YouTube thing fell apart. But at the end of the day, like complaining on social media or complaining at home or to people at work, it's probably not going to change your spot, and it's not going to make you any happier. So I finally made the realization. There's only a couple things you can control in wrestling. It's like your gear. You know, nobody can say don't have good gear, right? So I always made sure I had like great looking gear, like pay-per-view worthy gear, whether I was getting squashed on Raw or whatever. Your physique, you know, no one's going to tell you you can't work out, you can't eat right. So I always made sure I was in the best shape, got myself in better shape. And then your attitude. No one is going to say you can't be happy, you can't be positive, you can't be in a good mood. So once I realized, like, okay, these are the things I control, you know, bust my ass at those three things, which may sound silly, but like you can't control anything else.
I agree. And once you told me that, it definitely gave me like a new perspective. Like, okay, you're right. Like, I can show up to work all the time. I might not get booked, but like, I can show up looking good. I can show up like the hottest I've ever looked, or I can show up the happiest I've ever looked.
Right. And then if you get an opportunity, you have to be always ready for it, whether it be 3 minutes on Raw with no entrance or like a 2-seg match. You have to be ready for anything that they throw at you. And I think that's my strong point.
Yeah, I feel like you bring that anywhere. Like you bring that to Impact or to any opportunities that have been coming your way, right?
Yeah, I would have to say so.
Toot toot again.
That's right.
So
I would say I'll give myself a little Barry Horowitz, but you don't know who that is. If you don't know Skinner, you don't know Barry Horowitz.
I know that name.
You don't.
No, oh my God. I do know that name, but I mean, gosh, there's so many wrestlers to know. Okay? It's hard. It's hard. And I feel like I'm learning from your figure collection.
Okay.
So give me a break. What do you think? What's next for you?
With what?
That's the thing. It's just
we got to plan this goddamn wedding, huh?
Okay, so what's next is you're getting married?
Well, we are, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we have
I'm your interviewer.
We have to reschedule that wedding. You know, the major Recipe podcast. We've turned it into like a whole podcast network. We have all these spin-off shows, and it takes up a lot of time, but it doesn't feel like work.
Right.
So I love doing that. And now like wrestling with Impact, I'm doing the stuff with GCW this summer, all the indie wrestling. It's just a lot of fun. And you know, I hate using the term like living the dream, but I am.
Oh, you think you are?
Sure.
That's great. I'm not living the dream yet, but I'm getting there. I feel like every day I'm getting a step closer. I can't wait till I can say that. And maybe house hunting. We've got 2 dogs and 3 cats.
We've definitely outgrown this house. When I first got it, I had a little party, and Christian came, and Christian's a real, and he said something like, "Oh, good little starter home, kid." And like
good starter.
I was so offended because I'm like, this is like my first house, like my dream house. But he was so right. Like we've already outgrown this.
We've been here 5 years. We've started to outgrow it. I feel like we're just after the pandemic, like we did a lot of little fixer-upper projects, which I feel like everybody did, and got new furniture in here, and it's totally a home now. And now we've got too much.
Yeah, I mean, I need a bigger toy room, babe.
You need a loft or a bonus room.
Yeah, there's no garages. There's no basements in Florida.
Yeah, there's no basement, so you need a loft or a bonus room or something.
Maybe a bonus floor or something.
Oh my God, we're gonna end up looking for like 3-story houses just so you can have a toy.
We might have to.
Yeah, I mean, outside of wrestling though, what do you want to accomplish?
Like, does that include like the podcast stuff?
If you want to include the podcast.
I mean, the podcast stuff is a lot of fun because like we can take it and do so many different things. We do live podcasts, which aren't just me and Brian like sitting quietly with a microphone like for an hour on stage. It turns into
it's a spectacle.
Yeah, there's like live run-ins and crazy stuff going on.
It's kind of a mix between it's a production for sure, but it's like a mix between like a wrestling show, a podcast, I don't know. It's like nothing
like
I've
a
ever
comedy
seen
show,
before.
wrestling show.
It's a variety show. Really,
that's exactly. Yeah, like I don't know. I'm not saying it's like SNL or anything, but
a lot
maybe
of
like
podcasts,
all that. All that.
Yeah. Oh my God. All that. A lot of live podcasts are just two people sitting down. Maybe they have like a DJ in the background, and you sit on a couch and you literally just record the podcast, and the audience just watches. But this is not like that. You have a full. First of all, your fans are like a whole cult.
Right. And the shows are just getting bigger and bigger. And we have one every couple of months. Now, we have a wrestling promotion under the podcast banner. FWF. Another thing I'd love to do is like, we make our own merchandise, and it's so cool to, be hands-on on that stuff. But I'm working on it right now, like starting our own wrestling figure company to make our own wrestling figures because.
Wait, that's crazy. Did I know that?
Yes, but you don't listen to me. That's why I go to therapy, babe.
Excuse me. First of all, therapy is great for everybody. Anyway, go ahead. Everybody should be in therapy.
Yeah, I want to, make our own wrestling figure line where we don't have to, rely on anybody else to do it. Because I'm somebody who, if I have an idea, I go and do it, and it's frustrating when some things are out of your control. I want everything to be in my control.
So when you say a wrestling figure line, do you just mean for members of the major wrestling figure podcast?
No, I want to be able to, obviously, like we couldn't do like AEW or WWE guys, of course not. But I would love to do like guys in the independents, guys who are free agents. I hate that term. Or guys who are like legends. It's horrible. I don't like it.
But it's true.
It is true, right?
I'm a free agent.
Right. Yes. So maybe there'll be a Chelsea Green figure, but like under like our line.
I do really like that because the indies right before COVID, or maybe 2 years ago, were the hottest they've ever been. And I really feel passionate about like the next generation of indie wrestlers are coming up right now, and they're so good, and they're going to have so much buzz, especially with social media and all the platforms that they have to, blow their name up. And then there's nothing for them. There's no cards. There's no figures. All these people are having to go out and try to figure out how to get these things. It's the blind leading the blind. If you don't know how to go about doing these things, you don't know.
Well, you got to teach yourself kind of because, being under the WWE umbrella for so long, like I didn't know how to make my own, shot glass or foam finger. You teach yourself. You have to figure it out. And then you find, a team of people who are all going to, work towards the same goal. And that's what we've done with the Major Pod Network. And now we're working on the figures, which is the ultimate goal,
Okay. You are definitely one of a kind in that way, where I feel like you decide what you want to do, and then you go like balls to the walls. Right.
And I might fail. It might be, not everything we make and sell is like this hot seller. Some things suck, but I just love the opportunity to try.
I want to ask you kind of a negative question.
Okay.
But like, what a negative Nancy for me to ask this, but you just made me think, is there something in your career, literally it could be like the shot glasses that you made, but is there something okay, but is there something that you have attempted and you have just crashed and burned, failed?
Yeah. Okay. So like when I was starting that YouTube show, like a decade ago, there's a spin-off podcast, MC, True Long Island Story. But But anyway, like everything I was doing was working. All my ideas were working. So I had this giant, ridiculous idea that I would challenge, or Ziggler would challenge me, or I would challenge him, whatever, on my YouTube show, and set up a match for the next year's WrestleMania, which was going to be in New York, New Jersey.
Okay.
And we got these stickers made up, like these yin yang stickers, like DZ versus
where
CR.
they come from. Pink
Yeah.
and purple yin yang sticker.
Yeah,
I
and
love
like
those.
I thought, like, oh my god, it's gonna be like, because those Obey stickers were a big thing at the time, where people would just put it was almost
stickers
like graffiti
on water bottles, stickers on
like stop signs, right? Well, that was the idea, is that we'd make thousands of stickers, and like at one point I thought like I'd get a helicopter and drop them over like New York City, like ridiculous things. Turned out that what ended up happening, Ziggler did wrestle at that WrestleMania, but I wasn't booked, and I watched it from Mrs. Family's press box. So that idea didn't work out. I spent like $20,000 on goddamn stickers.
No, you didn't.
And I still have some. Yeah,
You do. You still have the stickers, because I had one.
I still have some stickers. We've since gotten rid of them, but yeah.
Okay,
they're a collector's item now.
No, I love that.
Yeah.
That's very interesting. And I didn't know that. I wondered where those stickers came from, but like I thought I was just like, again, I didn't know my wrestling. I thought maybe you guys tagged, and I just had no idea.
No. We were supposed to have this big match.
Wow.
Didn't happen.
So I have some fan questions.
Okay.
I obviously vetted them and chose the ones
I'm sure you did.
Wanted to know.
Okay.
I wanted to get some like juicy details. You know what I mean?
Some clickbait stuff.
Yeah, I mean, if the Dirt Sheets want to write, Chelsea Green hosted the best oral sessions podcast, I wouldn't hate it. Okay. All right. Dumbest thing you've ever done on a date?
I don't know.
Not
really. I mean, our first date, I was so excited to go. I was such in a rush that I forgot to wear my knee brace.
Yeah.
So I was like, it was fine because I met you in there.
It was fine because I walked in and you were
right
already there.
But on the way out, I had to like limp out.
Oh my God. No, seriously, I'll never forget this, because Santana.
Well, first of all, I wanted to go out afterwards to get a drink somewhere. And you made up this excuse that you to return something at Walmart.
A turkey baster.
Yeah.
Okay, first of all, I was sick. And I know you don't. I know you think I'm lying, because I tried to get out of it.
You tried getting out of multiple dates. And then I was persistent.
I know, babe. I love you so much for that. You were persistent. And then that day I tried to get it. You started at 8. And then I asked for 7. And then I asked for 6. And then I was like, okay, can we just do it at 4? You were like, no, it's 5 or nothing. I was like, oh, he's laying down the law. So then
I think it was a little later than that, but you wanted like some afternoon thing. I was like, no.
Yeah, I was definitely like trying to get out of it, but I also was sick that day. So Santana had planned, like, she was like, when things are wrapping up, I'll pick you up and then we'll go return.
Because you were living on her couch, right? I saved you. Look at this beautiful home that I've got for you.
Okay, first of all, you didn't save me. I had a bedroom. I paid for rent in that apartment.
I'm pretty sure you lived on a couch.
Okay. I had a blow-up mattress.
There we go. See, it went from a bed to a blow-up mattress.
Because I also had a place in Canada and had all my stuff and my car in
Canada. Gotcha.
And you know this. I'm just having to tell the people because they think I'm some homeless person. You saved me. So I'm not some stray dog. So I went on the date and Santana picked me up after, to return the turkey baster. Yeah, you wanted to go out for drinks, but I was like, I had to go to an indie show the next day. I had to go to Pittsburgh to wrestle Britt. That was the first time I ever met Britt Baker. So Santana and I got in the car we said our goodbyes. We did not kiss.
We did not kiss.
We just hugged. And I got in the car with Santana and we watched you hobble all the way to your car, all the way.
It was pretty embarrassing.
Oh my God, through the parking lot of the Publix. And Santana, I'll never forget, Santana's like, oh my God, poor guy. Like, do we need to ask him for a ride? And I was like, I think that's more embarrassing. Like,
it would have been.
Right? I think it's just better if we let you hobble.
Yeah.
I don't even remember what the question was. The dumbest thing you've ever done on a date?
That was it. Yeah.
So nothing else? You never got like too drunk on a date or?
No, not that I can recall.
Really?
I'm a good date.
Okay. Alrighty then. Next question. I actually really wanted to know this. What is the most infuriating thing I do, but something you can like I can get away with? It's like kind of cute or whatever.
Infuriating?
Yeah. They use the word infuriating, not me. So that's a very strong word.
I mean, I think there's definitely some things that we both do that gets under each other's skin.
No, go ahead, list them off because trust me, I've thought about this.
It kind of pisses me off when you empty the garbage and don't put a new bag in.
Rule number 1. Remember, you told me that was one of the rules when we first moved in together.
That bothers me.
No, that's so.
Here's another thing. Like, it's nice that you do the laundry, but I hate when you just do load after load and just throw the clean clothes on the floor and these crumpled up balls, and then my shirts are all wrinkled and I have to wash them again. Like, there's a big pile upstairs. Like, just if you're gonna do it right.
I know you hate that.
Because I have to redo it.
I know you hate that.
And then the cat's crawling in.
You don't.
One time a cat in it. Like, I don't want to deal with that.
Okay, first of all, ew, and second of all, you don't redo it. Like, that's why I do it, so I can do it all at one time. I put on.
And then your clothes smell. It's
No, they smell when they actually smell when I do the opposite. When I put them in the dryer and then I try to leave them in the dryer and then all the stuff is in the wash. So that's what I'm trying to avoid.
We'll just do one load at a time.
Okay. Easy for you to say because you are the one that comes home on a Sunday or Monday with like 3 suitcases full of stuff and you throw it all in the room and we got to wash it. That's why there's 3 loads of time. Trust me, it's not my workout stuff. I have the hiccups now. I'm trying to.
That's not very professional.
I know. I know. This is not the way I imagined this interview going. I was trying to think about like what are some things that I can't stand that are infuriating.
There's probably not many. We don't have to talk about it here.
No, I'll bring up one only because you did it like 10 times today. It's when something happens in the house. Like I could be anywhere. I could be right beside you. I could be upstairs, and you go, or you go. Yeah, they're gonna have to do a long beep for that one.
I think you can curse on this show. I don't know actually.
Or you go, Chelsea, like when the dog escaped the other day, and I was literally in the bathroom washing my face mid-face wash, and I hear you screaming
because I need help.
Yard,
I need
Chelsea.
I need help fighting this little guy.
It's like it's so dramatic.
Okay.
And ridiculous. Okay, we'll move on.
Okay. A couple more just popped in my head. But
no, it's okay. We don't need to. This isn't therapy. Okay, this is kind of a negative Nancy question as well, but I thought I would ask you because I'm curious. I'm curious what you're going to say. I have something in mind for your answer, but I'm curious. What is your worst childhood memory?
Christmas 1995.
Oh my God.
Yeah. There was just one thing I wanted. It was a Hasbro 1, 2, 3 kid figure.
Really? That's the worst memory.
And I is the only guy I needed in my collection. And I thought I saw what was the shape of him wrapped up. So I saved the best for last. And I opened up some great gifts, a couple of shitty things like socks and clothes, but I probably opened a couple of video games, maybe a Green Day CD, I don't know. And I saved this, what I think is the Hasbro 1, 2, 3 kid figure for last to complete the set, And I open it up and it's a San Francisco Toy Makers WCW Jimmy Hart. And it's just like, what? Like, yeah, I need a Jimmy Hart, but like, I wanted 1, 2, 3 kid. And I was devastated. And I didn't get him till 1998.
You bought it for yourself.
It was my first ever eBay purchase. I saved up those beer cans and soda cans with the Coinstar.
Really?
Oh, yeah. And this is before PayPal. You had to go to 7-Eleven, get a money order.
Really?
And mail it in. And I got it.
Old.
What's that?
God, you're old.
Yeah. And so I kept that figure in the package for years. And I just got it signed by X-Pac, Sean Waltman, 1, 2, 3 kid at WrestleCon this year. So, and I have it on display in my collection. So yeah. So
I thought you were going to say maybe like, I don't know, when your dog died or something. Like, hello.
My dog didn't die when I was a kid. So no.
Wow, you had a pretty good childhood if that's your worst memory.
I did have cancer and I beat that, but not getting the 1, 2, 3 kid was more devastating.
Yeah, honestly, okay. No, I seriously, I thought that you weren't gonna say that, but I was like, maybe
we're not.
will.
Yeah, we're not talking. What's there to talk about?
but still, a lot of people don't know that about you. That's a big chunk of who you are. It doesn't.
I don't think it is who I am.
No, but it makes you. No, it is. It 100% is. It's not saying like, oh, I am the way I am because I had cancer. But that's a huge part of your life, Matt.
I guess I don't look at it that way.
That's so crazy to me.
Not that
like you don't talk about it. I think I found out for the first time through Wikipedia. I think it was on your Wikipedia page.
It happened and it sucked and I beat it. And, I'm happy I beat it.
Right.
But it's not something I kind of, dwell on. It was a rough time. It absolutely sucked. I almost died a couple of times and it was very, very serious. And it's
and what kind was it again?
It was like it started in my foot, then it went to my lungs, and it was in both lungs, and I had the chemo, the surgeries, all that stuff.
And you lost your hair.
Well, yes.
Did you lose your eyebrows?
Not really, actually. But this is a funny story, actually. So, like, when I knew my hair was gonna come out,
right? So
I like buzzed it on maybe a 1 or a 2, and then I could tell that it was like coming out like in patches. So I took duct tape. And I put it on my head, and it was just like it just peeled the hair off, because
and it came.
I looked like Austin with no beard.
And did anyone else in your family shave their head?
No,
you were alone in the journey.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect anyone else to.
Wow. Yeah, I love you.
Okay, that's a little weird.
Hi, I'm not allowed to say I love you.
You can say it when the mic's not on.
I'm not allowed to say I love you on camera?
No, I'm saying you should also say it when we're not recorded.
Oh, we're going back to therapy sessions. Oh, I see. Okay. Okay. Last question, but it's not the last question. Now I'm thinking of a couple more. You know what I mean? This is from a fan. At what moment did you know that I was the one?
That same party that Christian said this was a good starter home. You were upstairs and there was a naked midget running around wearing a proton pack, and you were really, really cool about it, even taking like pictures with it. And then when I saw that, I realized she's pretty cool, because you were trying to date me for a couple months and I was kind of like hesitant. But
you were really gonna put me on blast like that.
Well, that's true. But then once that happened, I was like, I think she's the one.
Yeah, you definitely were like a little, it's like you wanted to go on the date with me, and then you went on the date with me, and then you wouldn't like lock it down.
Well, I wasn't ready for, to jump into another relationship so fast.
Oh, what do you mean? Do you want to elaborate on that?
I do not. Let's go. Next question.
You don't want to elaborate on that? You were just the one that brought it up. I love that you brought it up.
Next question.
I love that you brought it up. Well, but you did a couple days after that party say you love me and you made me your girlfriend.
That is true. Yes.
Yeah, I believe it might have been the next day, actually. With Nair on your back.
I did have Nair on my back, yes.
Upstairs in the bedroom, you said I love you.
That's true.
With Nair on your back. Oh, I know what I wanted to ask you. Another question. This was from a big fan. Big fan. It's me.
Okay.
It's me. What is your favorite Canadian thing? Food, place.
Oh, that easy.
That's so nice. Thanks, babe. Can I say I love you now?
Sure.
Love you, babe.
All right. I love you too.
Okay. So I've got rapid fire, and then you're off the hook.
Good, babe. Let's go. Let's do it.
Not bad, right? Renee, note that I've hit my time cues. No, actually, I will before I do rapid fire. Don't look at the rapid fire. Did you just look?
I saw. I see.
No, don't say what you don't.
No, I didn't see anything. I just saw that you had things printed out.
Yeah. I did make a cheat sheet because I got a little nervous about interviewing, and then as we were recording this, I actually looked at the time and I realized I had gone through all my questions in the first 8 minutes. So I just had to improvise the last 50 minutes. So not bad. I feel like not bad for my first time hosting / interviewing. And I think like I thought having you on would be it would be less nerve-wracking, but I actually don't know that that's the case. Like I'm not as nervous because we're in our house, but also I'm nervous because I feel like you're like a professional podcaster, and so it makes me a bit you know what I mean? You got nothing to say?
Not really, no.
Hey, Chelsea, you've done such a good job.
You've done a great job, Chelsea.
Well, I bet we're going to sign off and you're going to be like, oh, you shouldn't have done this.
I mean, I'm not sure all the mics are set up correctly, but stuff like
Yeah, so the more that that we speak, the more that I'm realizing that I can hear myself in my headphones and not you. And that's
So I'm talking to this mic that is going to nowhere.
Yeah, it's just for the looks.
So like I'm gonna sound on this podcast, and I'm an audio snob, so I'm gonna hate it.
Yeah, and you know what? You might, Renee, but I sound good, and so if you need me to co-host ever again, or host ever again, here I am. I set up my mic properly. Rapid fire.
Okay.
You ready?
Yeah.
And then you're done.
Sure.
Pineapple on a pizza, yes or no?
I mean, I could eat it, but not my thing.
Okay.
I want a plain cheese like Kevin McAllister.
Home Alone, if people don't know. Favorite spot to eat in New York?
That's a good question. It's a very good question.
Come on. Carmine's?
Maybe
Hachi?
There's this like deli called My Hero.
I knew you were going to say that.
Chicken cutlet, a little bacon, a little cheese, not melted, less tomato, and a nice, that's probably my go-to, my number one.
Okay. What's your order at Starbucks?
Like a venti black coffee or the cold brew.
Ooh, black.
Or if I'm having breakfast, the egg bites and oatmeal.
Oh, yeah. Always airport meal, on the go airport meal. Favorite TV show at the moment?
What's that one to watch on Netflix? Dynasty?
Dynasty.
It's so bad that it's good.
No, honestly, don't throw shade because I literally am obsessed.
I do like it.
And the main actress, Elizabeth, I think it's Gillies. I can't stop looking at her. I'm YouTubing her. I'm Instagramming her. I'm obsessed. Like, I just find it so interesting what these actors do in their personal life. I don't know why I get so obsessed. Favorite TV show of all time?
Maybe Friends or Saved by the Bell.
Yeah, I could see you saying that. When I first met you, that was what we had our first kiss to, Friends.
That's right.
And it went like 3 times saying, "Are you still watching?" And you still didn't kiss me, and I was like, "Holy, come on!" And then finally, I think on like the 3rd time, "Are you still watching this? We kissed."
Something like that.
That's what Netflix is for.
Netflix and chill, right?
Yeah, Netflix and kiss the love of your life. What if you were to have your very last meal here on Earth? What would it be? Come on.
Chicken parm, but like New York chicken parm, not Orlando chicken parm.
Yeah, New York chicken, Carmine's chicken parm. I don't know why I keep saying Carmine's. It's the only thing I remember in New York right now.
Carmine's is really good, but it's more, that's like such like family style. I'd want like my own little piece. I don't want to cut the piece. I want my own piece.
Bocce. Name a movie that made you cry.
Oh man. I don't know.
Ladder 49. Marley and Me.
Never seen it.
My Girl.
I don't have. I'm not saying I've never cried during a movie, but I can't think of one right now. Sorry.
Oh, we'll come back to that one. Favorite ice cream flavor?
It all depends. If I would say just vanilla, but like if it's like Baskin Robbins, then I love like mint chocolate chip, but I don't love mint chocolate chip everywhere.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that about you. I guess because we only go to McDonald's and get ice cream. We don't really go like for flavors.
This goddamn cat is.
I know the cat's very distracting, but we have one more rapid fire, and then I'll let you go.
Sure.
Oh.
What?
The last rapid fire was favorite thing about Canada.
Oh, I answered that.
I know.
You went in reverse?
No, I thought I was just coming up with it off the top of my head. So what's your favorite thing?
I said you.
Say it again.
My favorite thing about Canada is you.
Perfect. That was a great way to end this podcast. Matthew, thank you so much for joining me today on Oral Sessions.
Well, thanks for having me. I appreciate you setting up in my living room and
our living room.
That's right. It's my house, but our home.
Okay. Thanks. Love you.